Hey, Conscious Habit listeners. My goal is to help support you on your journey of discovering how to live from your highest and most fulfilled self at home and at work. And in that vein, I have some thoughts I'd like to share with you today. So meditate on this. I want to talk about one of those things we're not supposed to talk about: politics. I don't want to get into my personal views. I just want to really acknowledge that right now there is divisiveness happening. There is heaviness happening. There is a lot of finger pointing, blame, anger, and frustration. And even if that is rightfully so, I just want us to have a conversation about how we can be conscious in the midst of perceived challenges and heaviness. And I say perceived because that is my belief, is like nothing is good or bad until we put our own definition on it. Learning to become neutral in the most ego-driven areas of life is a skill set I am still working on, but I really strive to get there so that I can see both sides and see the humanity in it and not get stuck in they need to think differently, but instead begin to see what is missing for them. And so I want to just share with you, if you're feeling this, here's what I'm personally doing. Here would be some of my recommendations. You may find that some of these resonate with you and some don't. My encouragement, I would piggyback off of our first ever guest on the Conscious Habit podcast, Nathan Bobet. He shared the advice from his parents that was take the good and leave the bad. And I would share the same with you on this episode. So number one, I try my best to keep the greater good in mind. And I talk a lot about personal preference versus greater good, especially in leadership teams. Like I'm constantly teaching leaders, is this judgment or frustration based on personal preference? They're not doing it how I would or how I want or what makes me feel good and safe and comfortable. Or is it greater good? Meaning the place we're all wanting to go together and we're all striving to together. Well, let's look at that across the, political world. We all want the same thing. We all want to be happy, healthy, and free. I truly believe that. We all want to be happy, healthy, and free. But we all have very different paths of what we think is the right way to get there. Personal preference. And we are so hell-bent that our personal preference needs to be the path for all, that is creating a lot of mudslinging and finger pointing from both directions. And the important thing, if we desire to be more conscious in these turbulent and challenging times, is to keep our eye on the greater good and not be blinded by the egoic mind that says you have to walk the same path as me, otherwise you're wrong. When we recognize that in someone else, it will hook the ego in us if we are not conscious. So we must keep our eyes on the greater good. We all want the same thing: to be happy, to be healthy, to be free. It's universal. Number two, just because it's not my experience doesn't mean it's not true. This is one that is helpful, really pushes us to be more conscious and more open in the world, because we all have our own unique experiences and we see the world through the lens of our unique experiences. But the experiences of others is not negated just because we haven't had it. In fact, we've got to be more open and curious for people who are different, who think differently, who are on maybe different sides of the aisle, who come from different countries or backgrounds or socioeconomically, whatever, age differences or range. We often just see the world purely through our lens and judge it through our lens alone. But there are so many more perspectives out there. So I really try to remind myself when I see or experience a viewpoint that is not one that I have, I remind myself, just because it's not my experience or it has not been my experience doesn't mean it isn't true. It allows me to see things from a broader perspective. Number three, this is my kind of philosophical take on the world, but I do feel like it's proven outside of just this spiritual belief. I think there's only one thing and we're all it, meaning we all come from the same thing. I don't care what you call it, the Big Bang, stardust. There's scientific proof that essentially that's what we are. We're like dead stars kind of manifested. Whether you think it's from universe or God or you give it a name, we all come from the same thing. And there's a line in A Course in Miracles that essentially says it's like, we think we're so separate. That would be like a wave thinking it's separate from the ocean or a ray thinking it's separate from the sun. It's all the same thing. And so if we all come from the same thing, the harm I wish upon you is essentially harm I wish upon myself. The terrible things I do unto you are the terrible things I do unto myself. The love I give to you is the love I give to myself. The understanding I give to you. Do you see where that goes? That allows us to have a broader sense of empathy that if I do it unto you, or if I wish it unto you, I wish it unto myself. There is no separation. I think that allows us to have a higher level of accountability. Understanding, curiosity creates less division. It's okay if they feel divided. It's okay if they feel like you are the enemy or you are wrong. It doesn't mean you have to subscribe to the same thinking. It brings me to the next piece that I like to remind myself is the best revenge is to not be like them. So if there are people pushing your buttons, if there are viewpoints that frustrate you, anger you, it could be rightfully so. I'm not arguing that point. But remind yourself the best revenge is to not be like them. And another quote, Marianne Williamson, Course in Miracles quote is to bring what's missing. So if what I'm seeing is missing is compassion, then bring that. It doesn't mean agreement, but we are essentially bringing water to a fire instead of fire to a fire. Pointing out all of the problems and challenges and being angry about them is like yelling and screaming fire while you're standing next to a water hose. We're just refusing to pick up what could be more helpful in that situation. So bring what's missing. It does require us to be the bigger person. And sometimes we don't want to be the bigger person. We want to be the petty person who just points out that the other person is the idiot. But we're complicit then in the frustrations that we experience. And the last thing would just be on top of that is this, how can I bring light? How can I make heaviness light? How can I bring darkness to light? I think that if we are witnessing it, that's truly what we're called to do. And so those pieces, keep the greater good in mind, know that there's a broader perspective. Just because it's not my experience doesn't mean it's not true. How can I not be like them? How can I bring what's missing? All of these things, when we are just aware of them and we are willing to shift our own thoughts and feelings, there is a ripple effect of consciousness that happens. And right now, we need a conscious collective to come together and keep our eyes and sights on the fact that we all want the same thing. Do not ever underestimate your individual contribution to a greater good outcome for all.